Hey guys, Micah from Black Bear Custom Kydex. I've got a video for you today on a handful of sheaths that I just made for my good buddy BJ Hill. If you guys aren't already familiar with BJ, you need to go check him out. I'm going to link his YouTube channel and Instagram page in the description box below. But he's over there at Hilltop Knives and Gear. He does really excellent gear reviews, and he also does, in case you guys are interested, he does excellent sharpening as well as acid wash jobs on your knives, and he can also do things like create handle scales out of micarta or G10 or whatever. He's just really super talented all around with knives, and he's just a great guy to work with. So if you guys are interested in any of that kind of thing, I would highly recommend you go check him out. He's a great dude, and he's a great member of the knife community. So all right, let's get into these knives. So the first couple that I'm going to show you are both very, very similar setups. They're both on a pair of soft loops. They're both pancake style sheaths. They are both blood red Kryptek. And when somebody requests soft loops as a carry option, especially if it's a smaller knife, my recommendation is always to go with a pancake style sheath with eyelets that are closely spaced together. The reason is because you can take these two soft loops and you can position them through just about any eyelet, any combination of eyelets, and you can get a pile of different resulting angles. So my personal preference is to carry a fixed blade, something like on my non-dominant side, angled downward like that, because it conceals really well under the shirt and it gives you something to grip onto without having to lift your shirt up to get to your knife. And so yeah, you can just do things like that. You can wear these inside the waistband, outside the waistband. You can even attach soft loops to molly webbing. So you just have a ton of options. These are dollar for dollar. They are the best bang for your buck as far as a carry setup. You can just get the most different positions and setups and carry options with a pair of soft loops. So all right, so let's check out this knife here. This thing is, I actually don't know what it is, the model. It's a Pearson. I don't know anything about the blade steel. It looks like BJ probably did an acid wash job on this. Looks really nice. Got a kind of a forced patina on it. And nice carbon fiber scales with that kind of blood red liners on it. Nice matchup with the sheath here. You can see you get a ballistic one-handed draw, and of course a lot of carry options in one with those soft loops. The next one here is this one is a Manly, and I don't know the model or the blade steel for this one either, but you can see there is very, very little contour on the handle. Actually, there is zero contour on the handle. So I've actually used partially this little piece of blade stock there, as well as the giant hollow pin. Those are the points that I'm getting the retention on this with. It does have a good click in. There's no rattle. There's no play. Ballistic one-handed draw. And of course, with that soft loop paired, you obviously have all the same combinations as you do with the smaller Pearson that we just looked at. The next knife on here would be, this is a Spyderco Shaman in M4, I believe. Yeah, this is CPM M4 steel. Obviously it comes in a bunch of different blade steel options, but this is the one that he sent me. He told me he wanted me to carry it for a few days, check it out, and hopefully make him an auto deploy sheath. So he chose paracord necklace as his setup. I don't do too many of these. Not many people request them. But when I do them, this is kind of what they typically look like. I can, shape them slightly different between each one of them, but this is just kind of like the standard. Pretty cool little setup there. Deploys the blade automatically as you draw. Alright, next we have, this is a Tops Outpost Command. Pretty beefy knife, good and heavy, and it's got a huge handle contour here. This is really comfortable in hand. Nice big forward choil. I really like this knife. He asked for this sheath in a combination of foliage green and Kryptek Mandrake. Nice color combo there. You can see I've done a reinforcement plate. Usually I do this plate with my logo on it on both sides of the sheath. However, you can see I only did it on one side, and the reason is because this pouch here is attached to a plate. This plate is actually reinforcing the front side of the sheath because the connection points, the attachment points between it cover basically everything that you can see under this pouch. So that actually really does reinforce the whole sheath and makes it really sturdy. So I didn't want to make it that much thicker by putting a plate on the front. It also has a holder here at the bottom for an Exotac fire rod. That's also in Cryptek Mandrake. This pouch here, this is a standard SE attachment pouch. These are really great. If you guys are interested in something that can carry a tin that you could use to pack and make a survival tin, you can put a bunch of different stuff in this. I would recommend, maybe a small fishing kit, Mylar blanket, some fire starting material. You can get a lot out of a pretty small Altoid tin sized tin. If you don't want the tin in there, you can obviously take that out and just stuff the pouch full of a bunch of whatever you want. So it's a really handy thing to have on there. But this came out looking really nice, and no rattle, no play. The retention's really nice on this. Super smooth draw, and it's a real nice sheet. He is going to carry this on a tech lock. He told me not to bother sending the tech lock because he's already got them, so I just embedded the hardware that he'll need, and he can just screw that down and make it happen. Alright, so those are the 4 Kydex, normal Kydex. Then he asked for, this is the last one I'll show you guys. This is beautiful. He did some work on a Hogue knife. I don't know what the model is on this, I'm sorry. But his work on this is just absolutely stellar. So you guys can see what I'm talking about with his acid washing and his handle skills. I'm not 100% sure how he does this. I know a lot of guys use like fingernail polish or something and then acid wash the blade, so you get like the negative image on that from the fingernail polish protecting the blade or something like that. But just gorgeous. I love that cool like splatter pattern. This is really nice. And then I don't know what kind of wood. He told me, I just forgot. It's like Madrona or something like that. Look at, isn't that gorgeous? Some kind of like burl, and he did an excellent job with this. So anyway, he put these handle scales on there, pins and all. Look at those beautiful mosaic pins. And he asked if I could make him a nice sheath wrapped in leather with some good border stitching. So you guys have seen a bunch of the different stitching options that I have. Some people like me to have the leather come off the end of the Kydex and then stitch just through the leather along the edge. And in this case, this is probably the first time you guys have seen this. I'm actually stitching directly through the Kydex as well. So I think it gives it a really nice aesthetic effect, and you get that beautiful clean edge of the Kydex as well. So this is my favorite way to add stitching to a leather over Kydex setup. So it's really cool. And in case you're wondering, yes, it is possible to do this so that there's basically no eyelets, just stitching. But I would recommend that you at least have a few eyelets in there just to make sure everything stays nice and snug. The stitching itself will hold the edge together. It's very rugged stitching. So you can get a Kydex sheath that like truly looks like an all leather sheath. But yeah, I would probably recommend you at least have a couple eyelets in there. So for those of you who are wondering, the color I chose for this was walnut brown. This is tan synthetic sinew stitching, and again, it's going to be set up. You can see the weird drill hole spacing right here where these 4 screws are embedded. This is actually compatible with the tech lock, so that it carries horizontal, vertical, or canted for a comfortable cross draw. And on the back here, I've attached a plate that I have mounted a dangler to. So this is just a standard dangler plate. What I do with it is, you can't see the 4th hole, but this hole, this hole, this hole, and then one symmetrically placed here actually are spaced at 1.5 inches all around. So it's a 1.5 inch square, which means if you want, you could connect a tech lock to it, but I would recommend you connect molly locks to it. So a pair of molly locks, that would allow you to carry this on a pack, and it's spaced properly so that the pair will fit into consecutive rows of molly webbing. The point of doing a build like this, where you have a dangler plate instead of attaching the dangler directly to the sheath, I'm doing these more and more often now for one really important reason, and that is ambidextrous. If you have, normally what I would do if I was attaching the dangler directly to the plate to the sheath, I would have part of the sheath on the body side of it extend upwards, so the mouth of the sheath would be asymmetrical, and this little dangler adapter would be attached directly there. However, if you're also planning on carrying this on a tech lock, that means that if you, for instance, decide to carry Scout, behind your back like so, you would end up with that big tab sticking out on the outside edge, so it'd be facing outward. So it would just look a little bit funky, and to avoid having that asymmetry, I think it's really nice to have this plate on there. The other thing it does is it allows you to sell this to a left-handed user, and they can get all the exact same positions out of it, because this plate here is actually two-sided, so both sides face outward, and if you wanted to mount it on the other side and have a left-handed dangler, you can do that just as easily. So I think that'll work out really nicely. Not sure quite why, but the same exact die came out a different color. It just wouldn't take as dark on the dangler loop as it did on the sheath itself, but I think that contrast kind of looks really nice. And I also decided I would put a couple of tan, I think these are Desert Tan or Flat Dark Earth, I can't remember which. Oh, these are Flat Dark Earth. Flat Dark Earth nylon finish washers on both the dangler loop and the dangler adapter down here. So I think that's a nice touch. The colors look really cool together. It's just something you don't see too often. So I thought it would tie together those handle scale colors and stitching really nicely. So anyway, that's what I got for you guys. Guys, if you like these sheaths, if you like this video, hit that like button. If you like the channel, subscribe. Comment down below. Please tell me what you think of all these knives. I don't get a lot of these particular knives across my desk very often, so it's really exciting to me when I have some of those kind of more obscure options. Not to say any of them are truly obscure, but I just don't see a lot of them in for custom jobs. So let me know what you guys think of the knives themselves. Let me know what you think of BJ's work on this. Just, oh, this is gorgeous. Awesome acid wash job. And then those handles, I mean, that is just beautiful work right there. So, guys, if you're interested in getting any kind of custom handle scale work done, you got to get in touch with BJ. I mean, that is a truly professional job right there. So, all right, guys, comment down below. Let me know what you think of this thing. Let me know what you think of the other knives. And thank you for sticking around for 15 minutes of my rambling. Hope I'll see you in the next one. God bless.